This is naming ionic compounds from the formula. We will use this side here for this purpose. Okay, let's go. So first thing I told you to do is you're going to split it after the cation. Remember, the cation is the first piece, it's the positive piece, so we're going to split it here. And then we're going to check to see, does this have Roman numerals? So I'm going to look on my ion sheet and I'm going to see that PB on my ion sheet can be a 2 or a 4. Therefore, it has a roommate, I like to say, because I pretend like the block that it belongs in is a house, and it has a roommate. So if it has a roommate, it needs Roman numerals. So we're going to have to go through some steps. We're going to reverse crisscross. So remember there's a 1 here. We're going to bring this 1 back up, and we're going to bring this 2 back up. So then what we consider is it looks like this. Again, there's nothing here, so the 1 comes up and becomes negative, and the 2 at the end, outside the parentheses, comes up as a 2. Now, I'm going to check the negative. Should CO3 be a -1 or some other minus? If you look on your ion sheet, you're going to see that CO3 should be a -2. So I'm going to multiply by 2 here, and multiply by 2 here. So that's going to be actually PB4 plus and CO3 2 minus. Now the negative's correct. Whatever I do to the negative, multiplied by 2. I have to do the positive, multiply by 2. So this is going to be lead, Roman numeral 4, carbonate. Okay, let me go and show you what I was talking about by roommate on a periodic table. So let me flip over to a periodic table. Here you go. This is the front of your periodic table. This is the back. So notice that lead has a roommate, meaning this is lead's house, right? The box, and it has 2, so there's a roommate. Notice these guys don't have roommates. Aluminum doesn't have a roommate. Zinc, cadmium, silver, scandium, these guys don't have roommates. All these guys have roommates. So if it has a roommate, it has to be named using the Roman numeral. So notice that there's a 2, 3, and a 6 here for iron, right? So I can either have iron Roman numeral 2, that means it's this one. Iron Roman numeral 3, that means it's this one. Or iron Roman numeral 6, that means it's this one. We had lead Roman numeral 4 because we ended up with a 4 plus. If you need to check the negatives, you're checking up here. Let's go through another example. Okay, so for this one, we're going to split it after the cation, which is right here. Remember that the first thing is usually the cation. It's either an element or it could be NH4H3O. So does barium have a roommate? Let's look at a periodic table and figure that out. Barium does not have a roommate. Therefore, I will not need to worry about anything except naming it. These are the easiest ones we have. Because it has no roommate, I'm going to name the first thing as barium. And now I'm going to look for what do I call nitrogen with no other atoms. There's a 2 there, but that's because of the way it has to go to balance like we did before, right, or to crisscross. So nitrogen is here, but it's not nitrogen when it's in a name. We're going to look on our ion sheet to see what it's called. So I'm going to look for N all by itself. We're going to use the top for all the second halves, which I know is backwards, but that's the way this was made. Okay, so we're looking for N by itself. I see N by itself. Notice N with no subscripts. That's what I mean by N by itself. So we call N by itself nitride. So we're going to call this barium nitride. All right. Split this here. Now I'm going to look for titanium and see if it has a roommate. Bottom half does have a roommate, so I have to go through the steps of figuring out what the value is. To do that, we're going to reverse crisscross. Now, this is a little trickier than the last one. If it's polyatomic, I suggest that anytime you have something polyatomic, or anytime you write these, you could always go and do this. This might help you. Let me go back for just a moment to the first problem we did. I could have rewritten this here as PB1 CO3 2, right? And then I would have known the 2 comes up and the 1 comes up. So you can always do that to help you think through them. No need to do that here because there was no polys. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to reverse crisscross. So Ti1 plus SO3 1 minus. What am I saying? This one comes up, this one comes up. Should SO3 be a -1? We're going to look on our periodic table to figure that out. SO3 So I'm looking for SO3. I don't see it in the -1s. I see SO3 in the -2. It's supposed to be a -2. So then we're going to multiply by 2 to get it to a -2. Whatever I multiply the negative by, I got to multiply the positive by. So this is Ti2 plus and SO3 2 minus, titanium, Roman numeral 2, sulfite. How do I know it's sulfite? Titanium, I look on the periodic table for. How do I know it's sulfite? Because you're going to use that periodic table ion sheet to help you. I know SO3 is sulfite. I will not ask you to memorize these. That will happen in college, but I will not ask you to memorize them. Okay, next example. Where am I splitting this? Right here. Why? Because this is my cation. So I'm going to rewrite this to think about it because I know there could be there must be, oops, let's try that again. That's not supposed to be there yet. Should be C2O4 followed by a 1. Why? Because this is poly. How do I know it's 2 or more atoms? This is just 1 atom. So I can reverse crisscross now. I did not reverse crisscross. Let me try that again. Let's try to reverse crisscross. 1 minus, 1 plus, 2 minus. I'm all over the place. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me go through that again since I kind of went crazy there. So we're going to bring the 2 up. I did that. Bring the 1 up. I did that. Always plus and always minus. I'm going to look up C2O4 and see if it's supposed to be a -2 on my periodic table. And I see C2O4 as a -2, so I know it's correct. So there's no multiplying needed. Now I'm just going to name them. So this would be copper, Roman numeral 1, oxalate. Split this here. How do I know? Don't have to worry about rewriting it because I already have my parentheses followed by the 2. Calcium, does it have a roommate? Let's see. Calcium does not have a roommate, so no work needed. Just name the 2 splits. So this will be calcium. How do I know it's calcium? I have to find it on the periodic table. And then I'm going to look for PO4 on my ion sheet. And you'll see that it's phosphate. Next one, split it here. No parentheses because there's no polyatomics. Barium does not have a roommate. You would look on your ion sheet, so I'm going to call it barium. Then I'm looking for an I by itself, iodide. Split this right here. All right, so this would be like this. How do I know I'm doing that? Because I know cobalt's a roommate. It has a Roman numeral. So I'm going to put the 1s back in. So it appears that if it's this, I'm going to see that nitrogen on my periodic table / ion sheet should be a 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3. Multiply by 3. This becomes cobalt 3. And now I can name this because this is negatively written correctly. Cobalt, Roman numeral 3, nitride. I'm going to split this here. Magnesium does not need Roman numerals, so no need to worry about anything except naming the 2 halves. So in front is magnesium. And then Cl with no other atoms, okay, is chloride. Split the compound here. And I know that this is going to need a roommate, so I'm going to put back in my numbers. That's what it would be if I went back to the very basics. So this is Fe1 plus, WO4 1 minus. Remember, this one's coming up, that one's going up. WO4 should be a -2 on my ion sheet, so I multiply by 2, multiply the positive by 2. This becomes Fe2 plus, and WO4 2 minus. So this is going to be iron, Roman numeral 2, tungstate. Next one, split this. Uranium does have a roommate, so I know it really looks like this for considering reverse crisscross. So it's 2 plus, BO3 1 minus. Bring the 1 up, bring the 2 up. So this should be a -1, a -2, or a -3. If you look on your ion sheet, it should be a -3. So this is going to be U6 plus and BO3 3 minus. So this is uranium, Roman numeral 6, borate. I'm going to split this here. I'm going to see that AU has a roommate. So I'm going to rewrite all the numbers that would be there, the ones that were left off in our reverse method have to be put back in and considering how to name it. So AU plus 1, P 3 minus. P should be a 3 minus, so this is gold, Roman numeral 1, phosphate. Oh, not phosphate, phosphide. Let me try that again. Phosphide. Okay, split the compound. Potassium does not have a roommate, so I don't have to think about reverse crisscross. I just name the two halves. Potassium phosphate. I'll be looking up this whole thing on my ion sheet, whatever's before and whatever's after. Here are answers for E through L. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.